Take a look at this one. They called it stone washed. It's just a very pale blue, but I think what really steals the show here is the particular wood grain on this maple top. It's nice and plain and almost has like some water streakages look to it. But on top of that, they made it look really pale utilizing white plastics, such as for our knobs, our typical white binding. Come up here to our pickups, they're also blindingly white with gold mixed in. But then when you see the back at the same time, they went with a flat black and the Moto back plates. And if that's not enough for you, take a look at those tuners closely. They gave them the perloid tips just to tie everything in. I don't think I ever would have thought about this as a custom order. If it speaks to you, it's kind of expensive at $6,500, but remember, it is a 68 reissue. So a very modest upcharge for our new finish from a standard one, but usually to get a custom color, you have to get some aging, and when you compare it to the $8,500 price tag of some of those, it was a little bit more attractive. But in looking that up, I found this one on Gibson's website. This is one of their exclusive colors. I thought it was going to be like a black back, but no, it's the same metallic jade green. And then whoa, over here it's looking like a lime green. It definitely has a silver base coat. That's why we get the color fluctuations. But man, can they age those screws anymore? But next up, we've got a mossy platypus for $29. Okay, like a darkish gold brown. Something about Firebird pickguards. They're perfect for pinstripe jobs like that and making them a little bit fancier. But check out our pickup situation. It looks like they slightly enlarged this, but left your neck pickup ring the same. But you've got your regular Firebird here and then a chrome P90. That's quite fun. And then obviously your new finish and your ambered over knobs just for fun, bringing out the molasses color. But whoa, what is this? I'm just now realizing that for the first time. They were like, hey, let's do away with our toggle switch up there. Okay. Just as a refresher, here's what they normally look like. So our original output jack got filled in with that, and then they routed out the edge for a butt jack. Okay. I'm not sure I've ever seen that on a Firebird. The regular finish at the rest is a matching headstock. And if you come over here on the neck, you can see that's going to be glimmering gold in the light. So maybe not your typical boring brown. Apparently someone's got moss on their mind because this time it's magic on an SG. A little bit more mossy moss, but we're getting a little bit of the rose gold treatment. Or should I say anti-rose gold? Usually it's the opposite way around. This is chrome bridge and the gold, but do you see what they did? They took it a step further and even did it for the saddles. That's fun. And as we come up here, gold outside screws, chrome there. Ooh, missed opportunity not to use the golden pole pieces though. Let's see, did they do that for the neck pickup? Nah, just the regular situation. But that's a really flat, light green color. They amplify that with your Moto pick guard and all the other gold stuff going on. Not sure how I feel about the black tenon cover. Do you guys think that works? I think I would replace it with a gold one, because this semi-what reflects the chrome. But if you could make that a chrome pick guard and then the golden tenon cover, I'm sure they just didn't have those things readily available. And now looking at the back, it seems they did the Moto back here and continued the chrome gold thing with our strap buttons. But for our full body shot, it nearly looks like we've got some cryptic writing over here, but it just turned out to be some freaky shadows, man. But hey, wait, hold the phone. What is that doing with the Gibson Memphis truss rod cover? That's funny. I love those things. I think they're cool, but why on an SG? I don't think I've ever seen an SG with F-holes. Because sometimes you'll find Les Pauls like that. But generally speaking, SGs don't become semi-hollow either because they don't have the maple top. And I'm sure this is probably just a Photoshop mock-up job, but I suppose if you think about it, you could put a top on an SG. Billy Gibbons has done something similar. There are maple capped ones, so in theory, they could chamber the back and the top before they put them together and then put it, but I don't know if that works. I'd like to see it as a limited edition just to say, yeah, it does exist. But I suppose if you really want that, you gotta go boutique or Gibson import. This one's kind of funny, interesting top. You can see that's exactly what they did. They either put a thin veneer or an actual top that they then sand down. Then you got the continuation of the mahogany on the back. But then this one gets an American Eagle and really poorly shaped F-holes. But look at this guy's idea. I would love to see that as a Gibson limited edition. Troublemaker SG. Because the stylization of that F-hole works perfectly. But continuing on, we got a Les Paul Special in an alchemic gray. It's a nice bluish gray accented with the golden hardware. And on top of that, peep our pick guard. It also appears to be slightly metallic maybe. It's kind of hard to tell. It's definitely not just regular cream, though. But they give you the golden securing screws, too. Reminds me of a really fancy whale. But to match what they had going on for the top, the back plates are there as well. And man, now that I think about it, that's what I was thinking for that last SG. They do have the ability to make them, apparently. Well, that's what's fun about the mod collection is everybody has a different way of interpreting what would be cool on a guitar. You never know what's going to speak to you. In fact, I've actually been informed previously that Gibson utilizes my recap show to train new mod collection guys to give them ideas. And that's not me saying, oh yeah, I've got all these great ideas. That's me saying, it's great that I document these in a public way, because then new employees can learn from past employees. I like this one as a not too crazy, just right. But if you're in the mood for just flat out crazy, they called it When You're Smiling. All right, well, what can I say that's nice about this? It's certainly psychedelic. However, it looks like I gave to my 4-year-old and said, draw some smiley faces on it, which in that case, it's a lot of fun, but it's not my favorite. But I'm glad they're trying something crazy and new, because I know it's hard to stay motivated and inspired, and maybe it'll speak to somebody. But it does have a P94 in the bridge position, regular humbucker in the neck. Maybe we need to throw some smiley face knobs on here, and oh my goodness. All right, I take it all back. I like it now. They broke out the old piece tailpiece with the piece slottedness there that they used back in 2014. So maybe to make this better, each smiley face could have been a separate color. I realize the extremity of having to mask all that off and doing that, but this in rainbow flavor, I think you've got a potential. Because by the time you flip it over to the back, it's a natural satin. They threw Moto on it. I mean, we've got smileys all over the back here. Why don't you throw one on either the truss rod cover or the headstock, or maybe even one on the backside instead of Gibson mod collection? Outside of our black tuner tips, everything else seems pretty standard. If someone buys it, you definitely need to continue the theme onto the case. But let's just say, I think Gibson's going to be smiling if anybody ever pays that price. What? Okay. I'm sorry if I was just bullying your guitar. I did not see that selling. So you know what? Let's pick out my favorite smiley here. I do like the fact that this guy's eyes are all kind of weird, but if I had to pick my favorite, I like the shape of this guy, but it's right here. That was a stroke of genius. This pearl gray teal reminds me of a finish that Epiphone would use, but whoa, that looks good. I think it's the best original color that I've seen in a while. There's a mid-2000s Slash guitar that does a similar thing, because what we've got going on here is a bluish green border, then a little bit of yellow. But what they do is they let the natural maple peek through, and that's going to look different example to example, but when it's nice and pale like this, superly evenly flamed with the cross-hatched wood grain, wow, that's nice. I'm even tempted by it right this second, because then they contrast it with that really sharp red back. I would love to see that become regular production, because I think that is just a perfect template for him, because nothing else was crazy. No matching headstock, tuner changes, just a really nice natural burst. How much was this? $3,400. It is a nice top, and that's like what the really nice AAA quilty ones go for. I've got enough in my review pile right now, but if it was $28, I would definitely go for it. I don't know what kind of world we live in when that one's still available, but crazy smiley faces sell. Next, it's not quite springtime, but we got some robin's eggs over here. It's one of the P90 Les Pauls, just in a flat blue. But they made the bold choice to go with black plastics. Swap those out to cream, and I think you're onto something here. But that's what's nice. The plastics are easy to change, easier than the hardware and binding color. Because hear me out, had they had done this on one of the black bound standards or studios, I think then that would all jive and actually look pretty cool. But it's that and the lack of golden pole pieces that makes this one look just a little bit off. In my opinion anyway, but they continue the theme on the back as we then have a natural mahogany neck and some golden tuners. And then we've got the golden asphalt 70s Explorer. It reminds me a lot of the pewter color, but maybe a little bit more goldenly vibrant. It doesn't have a lot. In fact, in these colors, it almost looks more like a silver base coat, but that's going to be a bit more sparkly than pewter ever was. But pairing that with chrome, I think was a good choice. What do you guys think? As they continue the finish onto the back. But did we get the matching headstock is what I want to know. We did not, but the black and the sparkliness looks nice. And now for the EU mod collection, they didn't update again. Now, as far as I'm aware of anyways, even check their Instagram, where they typically post them, if and they do. Hey, that's a cool guitar. Somebody should review one. But at least we've got the good old demo shop to give us some more talking time. There is a sale going on. It appears to be a standard 15% off. That's just a regular reverb sale, so it's not just the demo shop doing it. They just decided to opt into it. So if you were upset that about a month ago they raised the prices on their old inventory, it's a little bit lower than I think it started. But as far as new ones listed this week, there was a left-handed satin finished hummingbird in a walnut burst. Okay, satin walnut burst. I thought they were saying it was walnut back and sides. I don't think they're actually saying that. There was also one of these in a satin wine red for the righties out there. If you love the tones of the SJ200, they also have the stripped down studio version. I'm surprised they still do the curly Q at the end. This SG Supreme was saved in my watch list, not because it's a really good top or anything. This one just came out particularly light. I notice a lot of the wine reds within this range of guitars tends to be really, really dark. So maybe somebody would appreciate that one for that reason. I don't think I have to tell you why I'm sharing you this standard 60s. Look at that. It's like an amoeba or something. And then you've got this little like duck face over here. I don't really see the eyes, but I see the bill. It's got some unique wood grain to it. Maybe not the most traditional. I could see some people sticking their nose up at that particular example, but hey, it's fun in a sea of similar looking guitars. And hey, with the sale, they've got one of those Music City Marauder tributes all the way down to $1,200. You know, around the $1,000, I think that's where those things are a lot of fun. So we're slowly getting there, at least on the used range. And that is all I have for you guys tonight. I hope you enjoyed our look at some quirky, weird guitars. And we'll catch you tomorrow on the next one. Take care.